Everyone. I want to thank you for joining us. And as people come in, we will, be letting them come in. I have some things I'm going to go through. But while you're joining us, go ahead and put in the chat just your name, where you're joining us from. If you're here to also network with people, which we thoroughly encourage, let people know your either LinkedIn URL, maybe your email, your website. But go ahead and share that because we all learn from each other. And I have chosen my background colors in honor of Stephanie because her colors are always bright and vibrant, and it's just awesome. We do have recordings started, so I don't forget. That does sometimes happen. But Stephanie will be helping me. She'll be watching the chat. She's put her LinkedIn URL there. There's always good content when you go see what she's posting. Hey, Norma. It's good to have you here. Norma's joining us from West Texas, so I hope you are dry and warm here in South Texas. We are wet, wet, wet. There's no doubt.
Oh my gosh. Seriously, it's been insane the past few days here.
And I see Carrie has joined us. Carrie, it's good to have you here today.
Hey, Carrie's here.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Carrie's my personal hype woman. She follows me everywhere. She's fantastic. I just gave her that title. So, we'll see how that goes.
Okay, well, I am going to go ahead and kind of run through my slides, and we will get our webinar started. So we are so glad everybody has found time to join us this morning. We know lives are very busy, and we certainly appreciate you making time. Joining me today is Stephanie Scheller, and she's going to present on setting up your 2024 marketing. And that's a topic I know that we all are very interested in. I'm Jean Smith. I'm the training coordinator with the University of Houston-Victoria Small Business Development Center. As I said, we are recording today's presentation. So you'll get an email from me with a link to the recording. I also have a link to a survey asking you for your comments and opinions about today's event. Stephanie has already sent me a copy of her slides, so I will include that as well. You also receive a link that you can go see our e-newsletter, and you can subscribe if you like. So in terms of the webinar itself, we are on Teams. I want to point out this webinar should not be considered legal or tax advice. And we are recording today's session. We'd like it if you could use the Q&A for your questions for Stephanie. And as I said before, use that chat to introduce yourself. Even though attendees are in listen-only mode, you can get the most out of being here by networking with each other as well as with Stephanie and I. And I will be here in the background. Don't worry, I'm here. I hope if things go bad, we can get it back up. So if you are having audio issues, check your speakers and your audio settings. Know that your internet connection can affect the quality of the sound. So the Small Business Development Center is a part of the Texas South-West SBDC network. As you can see here, we have 10 field centers, and we are each hosted by a university or community college. And we cover a number of counties in our service areas for each of us. We are committed to supporting and empowering entrepreneurs. Our mission is to foster small business success. So our goal is to provide you with the training, mentoring, and resources you need to start and grow a successful business. We are funded in part by the state of Texas, as well as the Small Business Administration, to provide small business support to our community. So we are a resource partner with the Small Business Administration. We are not the Small Business Administration, and we do not have access to any of the Small Business Administration records. So for our little SBDC, you can see here we are in red on the map, and I have the counties listed that we cover. But You are not far from an SBDC. All across this country, there is an SBDC that covers every county. You can see our network. It's shown there in blue, and our network covers from El Paso to the Gulf Coast, south to the border. Now, I've put up a QR code that can be used to go to americassbdc.org and find the center that covers your area and provides small business services. When you go to that website, you just put in your zip code. It's very easy to find out who provides services and sign up. And so you are never far from the assistance of a small business development center. And what do we do? All of us provide services that are no cost, confidential, and client driven. So from startup to expansion to transition, business advisors are available for the life cycle of your business. And we encourage you to take full advantage of the ongoing services that the SBDCs offer. Go ahead, use that QR code or go to americassbdc.org and find who provides your services. Remember, our services are no cost, confidential, and they are client driven. We do schedule time with our clients because we feel it's important that we dedicate time strictly to them, to their questions and their business. Our advisors do provide personalized, confidential advising to help you develop strong business plans, find funding, and gain the skills and knowledge you need to achieve your business goals. So what you see on the slide is in addition to some of the one-on-one advising we provide, we also provide low-cost and no-cost webinars like we're having today. And then we have access to specialty resource centers for our network. They're located and at the IED, which is located at UTSA in San Antonio. But our clients, through their business advisor, have access to these resources as well. So if you're looking for market research or industry data, maybe you need help with HR issues, we have specialty centers that can assist you. Now, just reminding you once again, we do not provide legal or tax advice. We leave that to our lawyer and CPA friends. Now, let's get to the meat of why we are here. We are fortunate to be joined by Stephanie Scheller. She is an entrepreneur who has built her business when she started in 4.5 months. That's absolutely unheard of. I have put her links there on the slide. You also get them in an email from me as part of our follow-up. She's very well aware of the challenges that a small business owner faces, especially when it comes to marketing. After 3 years in corporate America, she ramped up her sales training and coaching business and walked away from her corporate income in 4.5 months. So that's just awesome. So she's been where you've been, and she's here to help you. So in 2016, after building one of the largest sales training practices in Central Texas, she realized she wanted to support small business in more ways. And she established Grow Disrupt. That is her company. They provide educational experiences in addition to working with clients. And she has branched out to supporting ADHD entrepreneurs to thrive personally and professionally. So under her leadership and with a keen eye on marketing, Grow Disrupt has defied the odds. They doubled in size during the pandemic, and they continue to grow every year. So Stephanie, with that, I am going to stop sharing. And like I said, I'll be in the background. That should enable you to bring up your screen.
Perfect. Well, thank you. That was like a fabulous bio there. Let me figure out. Hold on. I don't share on Teams very often, so I'm going to make sure that I'm actually getting this share set up correctly here. Let's see. I don't know if y'all can see my presentation yet. Teams is not giving me the sample.
What we see is your native PowerPoint.
Okay. Well, then I will go full screen with it. Can you see me as well still?
Yes. Yes, we can.
All right, good news. Well, maybe I'll go full screen. There we go. All right.
Okay.
Well, I'm not as familiar with Teams in case some of y'all didn't figure that one out by now. So I'm going to do my best to engage with y'all in the chat. What I will ask is maybe Jean can help if we have like on the spot questions, pop in and ask those so I can answer them quickly. I'm gonna move as quickly as I can through quite a bit of content here to try and help y'all out. And Jean, you said you can see me. I can't see it very well, but you can see my PowerPoint and you can see me on the side as well, so everyone can still see me too. All right,
That's
great.
it.
So what I am going to do real quick, I know we have, looks like about 20 people live, and I would like if you could drop into the chat. I'm going to start with a couple of, housekeeping things, background things that are super helpful, but I would really appreciate it if you could hop in the chat and just drop in, what are you looking to get out of today? Because I understand that, we have 20 people on here, a 90-minute webinar, times 20 people. I want to make sure you're actually getting what you came here for. That's really important to me. So I would like to know a little bit of what you guys are looking for. So as much as possible, I can focus the conversation, the presentation around that. So while you're dropping those in the chat, and Jean, once we have a couple of those, I'll pause and you can come in and let me know, because I have no idea how to see the chat while in screen share mode. So we're just gonna not mess with Teams and not mess that one up. But
I'll be
this
watching
is marketing
the chat
right now.
And just to reassure folks, if you're just joining us, we have.
Uh-oh. I'm not hearing anything, and I have no idea if y'all can hear me anymore.
You're good.
Oh, we're good. Okay. All right. So drop in the chat. Let me know what you're looking forward to out of this training today. So this is marketing. Right now, we are standing in a world that has gotten increasingly busy, increasingly crazier. COVID happened. Everyone was stuck to their screens, and you had a lot of attention, but you also had a lot of messages going out. Now, the pandemic is over. We are all back to our normal lives. And here's the thing. The amount of messages going out hasn't slowed down. In fact, something crazy happened last year. AI became widely available to the masses. Like all of a sudden, everyone was AI. Everyone's an AI expert. Everyone's in AI. And the problem with this is that in terms of small business marketing, what happened for you and I is that we all of a sudden got flooded with messages out there. All of a sudden, there is a ton of conversation out there. And here's the problem. A lot of it is low quality AI generated messaging. So now you and I are having to find a way to stand out in a marketplace that once looked like this and is now even more crazy. And what's most frustrating to me is that for a lot of small business owners, like this is what we're told. When it comes to marketing, it's like, oh my God, I need to do like Facebook and have a blog and video and social media. And I need to do PPC and PPM and PPO and wait, what? It's all alphabet soup at that point. So what I want to do today, we're not necessarily going to talk tactics, because here's what I have learned. Tactics are going to vary per company. What you do to market your business is not going to be the same stuff I do to market, grow, disrupt my company, right? The tactics that we run are going to vary, but the core concepts of marketing, what makes marketing work or not work, is not going to change. So over the next, let's see here, about 70 minutes, I'm going to walk you through three of the 2024 trends that we are definitely seeing hit and hit hard. So you should be on the lookout for these and how to integrate these this year. Then we're going to start talking about some of the common mistakes that I have seen people make with their marketing. I've worked on a few thousand marketing campaigns at this point in the past decade or so. And I've noticed some common trends, not just in my marketing, because I'm really smart and I like to learn things the hard way a lot. But primarily, like I've seen a lot of these common mistakes happen, yes, in mine, but in a lot of other campaigns as well. So I'm hoping by sharing them, I can help you avoid making them. We will talk about the key to great marketing, and then I'm going to actually walk you through how to build a marketing plan and how to manage your marketing on an ongoing basis. So we got a lot to cover here real quick. Jean, do we have any comments in the chat as far as what people are looking forward to most for today?
Let me look here. Let me see here. Carrie is here to get her year started off with a bang, not only for herself, but also so she can help her clients. Let's see here. Kristen is looking for effective marketing strategy for her services, and she has a business called Your Mind Aligned, and she's joining us from Corpus.
Cool. Okay, Kristen, effective marketing strategies.
And
perfect.
Lakshmi has joined us, and they are a financial professional. They'd like to learn networking and marketing for their business. Thank you guys for putting that in the chat. Appreciate it.
Yep, absolutely. So a couple of quick notes on those, because I think those are some really great points. So effective marketing strategies. Kristen, what I'm going to provide you with today is going to be how do you determine whether or not a strategy is going to be effective for you? There are literally, I mean, I know people think I'm kind of making this up, but like there's an unlimited number of marketing strategies you can run for your business. The key is to only do the ones that are effective. And in order to do that, I need to be able to look at 2, 3, 4, 5 strategies and understand whether or not this strategy is going to be effective before I go run that strategy and spend a whole bunch of money on it. So the stuff we're going to walk through should empower you to be able to figure out what strategies are going to work. And then I'm happy to go into an offline conversation. Wow, that was a loud thunder boom. I am happy to go into an offline conversation or off past this, and we can talk actual individual marketing strategies. And then as far as networking and marketing goes for Lakshmi, the stuff we're going to talk about when we talk about the marketing message is going to be exactly what you're looking for. How do you approach, like what message do you need to deliver through your networking? So pay close attention to that one. So let's talk about a couple of the trends that we are seeing in 2024, specifically the 3 that have stood out to me the most. First and foremost, this is really, really exciting news for small business owners across the board. One of the major social media channels out there that for the past 2 years has been the trendsetter for almost every other social media channel, which is TikTok. I know that has a whole lot of, I know we're not going to talk about it. Okay. If you're on TikTok or not, I don't care. Here's what's happened. TikTok has said they're doing something, and then all the other channels start doing it too. TikTok announced at the end of last year that they want quality over quantity. They are tired of seeing low effort, low content, like quick and easy. Like they are not pushing quantity anymore. They don't want to see 50 posts in a day. What they want to see is one really good post. That's fantastic news for people like you and I as small business owners who don't have time to be putting out 50 posts in a day. So now you actually have an excuse to focus on quality over quantity. They are starting to look for and be able to pick up on stuff that is AI generated, and they are giving it less priority. They want to see the stuff that is created by people, by you. So that's really positive news. All right. So quality over quantity. We have actually even scaled back the number of posts that we do. I run 2 brands, right? My brand, the Grow Disrupt brand, and then my personal brand. We've scaled back the number of posts that we're putting out each week in order to be able to spend more time on creating more detailed like infographics and better posts. So quality over quantity. Number 2, leverage video. I've been talking about this relentlessly, I feel like, but video has continued to rise in terms of effectiveness. If you can get someone to watch your video, to actually watch your video, 30 minutes of interaction with your brand, that person will buy from you. At some point down the road, they will spend money with you. That is the study. Your job is to get them to 30 minutes with you. And one of the best ways to do that is video. Video allows me to actually feel like I'm communicating with you. So instead of me sitting here and typing out a whole bunch of text that you have to read, you can get 1, more information from me, and 2, you can actually kind of get to know me in that video, which is even better, right? We want to get to know each other. The pandemic showed us that we need that interaction level. This is really, really important. So leverage your videos. And the great thing is it doesn't have to be perfect. What does need to happen on your videos is you can do videos on your phone. You have a decent mic on your phone. You have a decent camera on your phone. You can do videos on your phone. In fact, all of the footage, most of the footage that we release through both the Grow Disrupt channel and my personal channel is shot on my phone. The stuff that we release from our events is usually shot on like Cinecams and real cameras. But like if I'm doing just a talking video, that's shot on my phone. You can get a relatively cheap mic off of Amazon, and you can like put really good videos. What you do need to do is keep in mind that in order to get someone to watch your videos, you have 6 seconds to deliver what we call the hook. Okay, the hook is something that is going to convince people to keep watching. Now, there's a few ways that you can do this. You'll notice that a lot of times you get people who are creating videos and they will do some variety of like, almost like a clickbait title. You're never going to believe what we found, right? Like you've seen them, you know, so you can do those and you can find ways to do them that are more authentic to you. I did one recently where I was like, okay, I can't believe everyone's asking about this, but since you are, let's talk about it. right? That is almost a clickbait title, right? I didn't tell you what everyone's asking about. I didn't tell you what we're going to talk about, but now you're like, okay, what is it, right? And as long as I hit the second point here, which is I'm visually engaging, then that can be a good hook. So the second way you can get your hook is to have something visually engaging. A lot of times videos that go viral, stuff that goes viral happens because there is some sort of visual element to it. So I recently released a video where I was like holding a crystal ball because it gave people a visual thing to engage with. And they were like, wait, what's the crystal ball about? And then they were listening to me talk. So leverage video, use a really good hook. Number 3, this is the trend that I'm definitely seeing. It's not quite cresting yet, which is actually good news. I think we'll start to see, well, we started seeing a lot of it last year. We'll see more of it this year. I think we will see it probably hit its peak wave in about 2025, 2026, which is good news for you because that means you have time to get on board, start practicing this and using it now before you actually have to get into competing with everyone doing this. And that is gamification. And the reason that this has started to take over so much is that last year we saw $1 billion in sales generated off of an incredible gamification marketing campaign and $4.5 billion in economic impact. In fact, this gamification marketing campaign is so effective that countries have started reaching out to the individual responsible for this gamification campaign to say, can you please come bring what you're doing here? And that is the Eras Tour. Taylor Swift's gamification marketing is on point. And here's what I love about it. It's not expensive. She's trained people that she is dropping Easter eggs. So every post she makes, people are analyzing it. They are looking for the inside joke, the story. They're looking for the can you find. They're looking for, that is a game. It's all a game. And that's how she's been effective. Now, the cool thing is gamification marketing has been going on for a long time. You have, the McDonald's Monopoly, you have all kinds of stuff happening. Super Bowl has done games too, right? TGI Fridays has done games, but it's only been available to the big companies for a really, really long time. Like the software, the technology hasn't been there to make it accessible for smaller companies. And here's the good news. It is now. There is a lot of software that has come out. And so I would encourage you to start looking up, a white label gamification software and see if you can find some ways to work gamification into your content. We're even just creating social media posts that have Easter eggs built in. And then we are in the midst of training our audience that we're posting Easter eggs all the time. And so we're in the early stages of what Taylor Swift did, a decade ago of teaching people that even our social media is a game. So y'all want to know what to do in 2024? These are the 3 trends. Quality over quantity. Thank God, finally, right? Leverage more video and start finding ways to gamify your material. All right, so let's talk about the most common mistakes that most of us are making and is costing us millions of dollars. And the first one, I need a hand for this. So 1 second. I've done this opening with a few of y'all before, but I'm going to play this song for you, and I'm going to play it 2 ways real quick. I'm going to play just the opening of the song, and I want y'all to tell me which way you like better. Okay, so same opening of the song, and I'm going to play the exact just 2 different ways. All right, let's see if I can do this. All right, opening number 1. Ready? Opening number 2. Which one stood out more? Which one did you like better? I'm going to guess, since I can't see the chat, most of y'all prefer option 2, because I've done this training a few times from the front of the room, and every single time I do this training from the front of the room and I deliver this and I ask, the answer is always option 2. Well, what's the difference between option 1 and option 2? Emotion. In the first version of that opening, that's the opening to the pop ballad we released last year. In the first version of that opening, I played exactly what my co-author wrote. I played the exact notes held for the exact amount of time that my co-author wrote at the exact dynamic that my co-author wrote it at. In the second version, I still played the same notes held for the same amount of time. I played a little bit with the dynamic, but what I did was I brought emotion to it. I changed it up. And here is the point here, because some of y'all are going, where are we going with this stuff? What does this have to do with marketing? Here's my point. Emotion is memorable. If you want your marketing to be memorable, and I have a hint for you, you do, because if your client can't remember you, they're not going to buy from you. If you want your marketing to be memorable, you have to introduce emotion. We have to use emotion in our marketing. We have to tell stories. We have to spark curiosity. We have to make people feel smarter, feel better. You want to spark emotion in your marketing if you want your marketing to make an impact. All right, key number 2, or mistake number 2, right? So mistake number 1 is failing to realize that we are cutting emotion out of our marketing. We are so busy trying to find the perfect thing that we cut emotion out. And that is this looking for the silver bullet. And I see this a lot, and I'm going to be honest, I've done this as well. I talk to a lot of small business owners who are looking for the one tactic, the one strategy, the one thing that they need to do to market their business that is going to make a difference and make them successful and make them so much money, and it's going to be amazing. And here's what I have for you. There is no silver bullet. There's no silver bullet in anything, y'all. Like, there's no silver bullet when it comes to losing weight. There is no silver bullet when it comes to building a relationship. There is no, some of y'all are mad at me now because I just said there's no silver bullet to losing weight. Okay, but come on, we're halfway through the month of, we're almost at the end of the month of December. You've already figured out there's no silver bullets to losing weight. Okay, but seriously, there is no silver bullet in anything in life. There's no one thing that's going to fix things. For you to be successful with your marketing, you have to start looking at what are the 1, 2, 3 things that I can tack on. Let me show you, because this actually leads into our next concept, right? We end up looking for a silver bullet, and then what happens is we end up marketing in isolation. We have one tactic that we are pinning all of our hopes on being successful. Everyone said I need to get on TikTok, so I got on TikTok, and no one is seeing my videos. So we market in isolation. We put everything in one. We get a website. We put everything into this website, but we don't connect that website. We don't connect that website to other websites. We don't connect it to other social media. We get on TikTok, but we don't then use TikTok to drive people to our other platforms. We go networking, but then we don't encourage people to connect with us on LinkedIn afterwards, or to connect with them via email afterwards, or to bring things together. And here's the problem with both looking for the silver bullet and marketing in isolation. Marketing does not work like this, right? Everyone thinks that marketing is going to be a linear growth path. If I implement one tactic, then I should get one result. If I implement 2 tactics, I should get 2 results, right? That's not how marketing works. Marketing works a little bit more like this, which is really freaking obnoxious. I implement one tactic and I get like no results. I implement 2 tactics and I'm still getting like no results. 3 tactics, I'm still getting no results. And the problem is, at this point in time, most small business owners start looking at these tactics and going, okay, which of these am I going to get rid of? And so now they stop doing social media because they aren't getting any business out of it. The problem is now they add another tactic, but they're still at 3 tactics. They don't have all the pieces working together. What I teach people to do, and this is going to be one of your big keys, your job as the owner of the company, as the C-suite marketing director of your company, is to establish the tactics. And I use tactic and strategy very differently. Strategy is an overarching strategy, all of the tactics you're running. A tactic is an individual marketing tactic. It is posting on social media, or having a website, or running a PR campaign, or applying for awards. Those are 4 separate tactics, okay? Your job as the business owner, as the marketing director, is to establish which tactics you want to give a go, get them running, then automate them and get someone else doing the execution for you once you've identified how to run it successfully. Then you get freed up to go move on to the next one, and the next one, and the next one, so that you can actually get to where you have 4 tactics, 5 tactics, 6 tactics, and now you start seeing return on your investment very quickly. Marketing operates on an exponential growth curve. We have to push through getting through a few marketing tactics, and the challenge with that is We have limited time. So your job is to identify the tactics and then outsource them so you can keep things moving. Okay. Why does marketing work on an exponential curve here? Okay, I do want to address this because I know people kind of get a little bit funky when I start talking, linear and exponential. And first of all, marketing works exponentially because people need to remember and trust your brand. And the more often that they see your brand, the more they remember it and the more they trust it. That's just kind of how the brain works. Like, I don't know if anyone in the chat has studied neuroscience, but that's how the brain works. When we see things frequently, we remember it. And when we have seen something consistently, it has shown up consistently, and it has always been there for us, we trust it. Now, that trust doesn't have to be positive or negative, right? I trust that McDonald's is going to give me a basic hamburger. That's not necessarily a great thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but I have remember and I have trust with the brand because it has shown up consistently and it has given me the same thing every single time. So you have to be doing the same thing in your marketing. You need to be showing up in multiple places, and you need to be showing up in multiple places with the same message, because memory is built through repeated exposure. The more they see you, the more they trust you. Trust is built through repeated exposure. And here's the key. Trust is reinforced when you live up in the small things. So let's talk about that McDonald's example for just a quick second here. If I walk into a brand new McDonald's and they've got wood paneling and they've got like candles on the tables, checkered tablecloths, they've got a guy in a black suit with a white apron who walks up to me and says, "Can I take your order?" They are not reinforcing their messaging. Their messaging is, we give you a good basic burger fast. No frills, you get your basic burger. Trust is reinforced when you live up in the small things. When people go to your website and they see the same message that they saw on your social media. And when they go to your social media and your website and they see the same message that they saw when you were at the networking event. People believe you when you say, my job is to make your life easier, and then your marketing actually does make their life easier. We had our breakthrough with Grow Disrupt when we realized our marketing was boring. We could sit here and be like, we designed marketing for ADHD entrepreneurs, but as long as we were doing the same marketing as everyone else, they weren't seeing us. It wasn't until we started doing things like producing an 8-episode TV show and a pop ballad and like custom coffee blends that people started paying attention, because we said, hey, we get you, you're different, and so are we. And that's what we learned to reinforce through our message. Now, when we do these things, when we are able to reinforce through memory by being in repeated places, we are able to reinforce by having a consistent message, then we get to the exponential growth. Keeping things going. I'm moving fast because I want to make sure we have time for questions, but I'm hoping that y'all, if you have questions, you're dropping them in the chat. So key number or mistake number 4, right? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, this is mistake number 4 that I've seen is this flying by the seat of my pants marketing. And when I say we've all been guilty of this, I have too. There have been plenty of times when I have like gone to run some sort of marketing campaign, not bothered comparing it to the rest of my marketing strategy, right? And then found that tactic didn't do very well because I just tried something just to see if it would work rather than working it into my overall strategy, which is the marketing plan I'm going to show you how to build at the end here. Okay, so here's the solution. You should not be doing marketing by the seat of your pants. You should not be grabbing ideas. Someone walks up to you and says, oh, you need to be doing TikTok. Oh, you need to be doing a line. Oh, you need to be doing the hot yoga. Right? And then you go, oh, I need to be doing hot yoga. And so you go start doing hot yoga because that's somehow going to market your business. That is seat of your pants marketing. So here's how you break that. Here's how you don't fall into that. 1, have a plan. Now, you're going to need a plan in 2 places. First and foremost is the strategies, which I am going to talk about when we get to the end here, walking you through how to build your marketing plan so that you don't have to fall into this, oh, should I try this strategy or not? Because you'll actually have a plan. And here's the thing. When I've got like a plan of strategies, tactics that are working, I can see very easily if this outlier is not going to fit in with the rest of them. So now I can tell when someone goes, oh my God, Stephanie, you need to sign up for this online platform because it's really cool and allows you to do all of these things. I can tell if it doesn't fit in with my plan. And so I don't waste my time or my energy over here. Okay, now, so you need a plan for your strategies, but you also need a plan for your time. Your time as the Chief Marketing Officer or CMO of your company. Congratulations, by the way. You have all been knighted. You are now a Chief Marketing Officer for your company. You need a plan for when you are going to actually operate as the CMO of your company. You need to have a plan for the amount of time you're going to allocate, because the other area that I see this fall apart is people fly by the seat of their pants in the amount of time they're going to allocate to their marketing. And this can happen one of a couple of ways. This can happen because, oh, well, you know, I'm going to spend 2 hours a week marketing, but I don't know what I'm going to do, so then I do nothing. Or I'm going to spend 2 hours a week marketing, but I didn't block it out. So now I've gotten to the end of the week and I have not done any of my marketing. So I'm going to encourage you to go to your calendar and actually actively put time on there to work on marketing. Now, at very least, you need one block of time on your calendar at the very end of the month. We're going to call this your CMO meeting. So if you are at your computer, you're at your phone, I do want you to actually go to your calendar right now, find a block of time. I usually take about 2 hours to do my CMO review at the end of every month. And so you're going to block off 1 to 2 hours at the end of every month, call it the CMO meeting. And then in the description, I want you to put 1, evaluate current activities, 2, evaluate potential activities, and 3, adjust. So this is the 3-part agenda for this meeting. The first thing you're going to do is look at all of the current tactics and activities that you're doing to market your business. You need to evaluate your key performance indicators, look at what's working and what's not working. Next up, you're going to evaluate potential activities. So this is really cool because throughout the month, you get all these people coming to you with marketing ideas, right? They're calling you up and going, oh my God, you need to sponsor this event that we're doing. You need to be on this social platform. You need to do, right? Everyone's got ideas for how you should market your business. That's great. Take all the ideas all day long. I then go into my phone and I add them to this calendar invitation to myself. I invite myself to my own event because I need the reminder. But I add them that, so if someone says, oh, you need to check out this website, perfect. I go pull up the calendar in the calendar event, and then inside the description, I add check out X website. So now I have space blocked out every month to evaluate the potential activities when my brain is in marketing mode. And once again, now I'm looking at this strategy versus the ones that I have running. I can see whether or not it fits in here. And then the last step is going to be making adjustments. Just because a current strategy or tactic isn't working very well doesn't mean you're going to throw the whole thing away. You may decide to just make some changes. That's fine. Just because a tactic is working really well doesn't mean you're necessarily going to leave it alone. You may make some minor changes, or you may decide to implement a new tactic. So whatever you want to do to change up your marketing, if you need to send out instructions to your vendors, to your contractors on what to do, if you need to go block time on your calendar to do that thing throughout the next month, then go do that now. Okay, so we talked about the most common mistakes about marketing. We've talked about the 2024 trends. Let's talk about the key to great marketing and saving a lot of money. This one thing, I know. Everyone always gives me a hard time about this because like 10 minutes ago, I was like, there are no silver bullets. And now I'm standing here saying, this one thing is how we saved so much money. Yes. I see the irony. It's not a tactic, so that's helpful. But I will say this is a skill set that you have to develop. And when you do develop this skill set, it makes a major difference. This is how we doubled an events company during a pandemic when no one in my industry was even running events on a $0 a month marketing budget. I do not spend ad dollars. I have no interest in spending ad dollars. Not my thing. I spend money on marketing now, but I spend money on marketing smart, right? And I still spend a fraction of the amount of money on marketing as any of my competitors do, and still have more growth at our events than most of them. There you go. That's the key. It is creativity. I always feel like that's a SpongeBob moment. You guys, I give away my age when I do this. You know, the SpongeBob does like the imagination, right, with the rainbow. That's kind of what I feel like this moment is. Like the key to effective marketing is creativity. Now, I know as soon as I say that, I start getting very dirty looks. Because if you look around at my background, right? Oh, look, Stephanie's got lights and she's got art and she's got violin and she's clearly a creative individual. Yes, I have always wanted to be a creative individual. I have not always been a creative individual. In fact, there was a long time, I've always loved art, I've always loved painting, but I have not always been very good at it. For example, this is a painting of a horse that I did in 2011. And when I do this training live, usually I'll ask people, what do you think this is? And I have gotten some very interesting answers as to what people think this is. It is supposed to be a horse. And I will point out, this was 2011. I was not a kid at this point. I was a full-grown adult, okay? That was, I'm not a fan of this horse. It doesn't have a whole lot of dimension to it. It's kind of flat. The colors are not realistic. Like, it's not the style that I wanted my art to be. I've always wanted to be creative, but I have not always been good at being creative. And I remember in about 2017, 2018, I was complaining to one of my coaches. I'd spent the whole weekend painting, and I said, I'm so frustrated because none of these paintings are any good. And he goes, well, have you ever studied color theory? I was like, no, why would I study color theory? And he's like, well, you're complaining about how your colors don't look realistic, they don't look natural, they don't blend, it feels one-dimensional. If you study color theory, you'll start to learn how colors work together and how to create more realistic colors. So I started studying color theory. I started learning about hue and intensity and value and tone and monochromatic and split complementary and triads and energy and blah, 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 blah. And I had a blast learning about all of this stuff. And then in 2020, I was able to paint this. Now, it's not Leonardo da Vinci, but it's a far cry better. My creativity was able to blossom when I studied color theory. My creativity as a violinist was able to blossom when I studied music theory, because here's the thing about creativity. It thrives inside of structure. That seems really weird. I get it. But my art thrived when I learned about color theory. My music thrived when I learned about music theory. There has to be structure for things to work together. So what is the structure for marketing so that you can have your version of color theory in marketing so you can be creative as well, remembering that this is a muscle, this is a skill set? Well, the structure that sparks creativity in marketing is what I call the 3 M's of marketing: your target market, your marketing message, and your methods of distribution. Coincidentally enough, these are also the pieces of your marketing plan. So we're going to talk about that real quick. Before we do that, I did want to, we released this book last year. I released this book last year. It's Marketing That Works for Small Business Budgets Beyond Social Media. And I will say I'm really quite proud of this. It's a choose your own adventure book. So throughout the book, we actually built in spaces where you can pick where you want to go next in the book, because here's the thing, we all get it. I know you need the foundations of marketing, but quite frankly, some of y'all are wishing you could have skipped the first part of this training and just gotten into the tactics part. I get it. I hear you. So that's what we built the book around, is for you to be able to pick and choose where you want to read and get into the stuff that matters most. It is 100% about, it is everything I'm going through here, but it's workbook style. So I wanted to give away, I'm going to actually mail out a copy of the book for y'all. If you will, what we'll do at the very end, we will take everyone's name that is on live, and we will put them in a little spin the wheel thing, and someone will win. So if you will do me a favor, text, you can either scan the QR code or you can text your name and your email address to 210-570-7648. And at the very end, I will go in, I'll pull all of the names, we'll put it in there, and someone will win an actual, I'll have to mail it to you, but you'll win a copy of the book here. Okay.
And Stephanie, I did put in the chat, if you're not lucky enough to win, where you can get the book on Amazon. I do have a copy. When Stephanie released it, I got it because she has been so helpful with my marketing. And definitely, we don't spend taxpayer dollars on paid marketing. And I got to tell you, I read it over my holiday break. So this should tell you guys how good this is when I keep doing work things on holiday. So yeah,
I really tried hard to make it easy to read and fun to read, and not, marketing can be such a heavy topic, and there's so many marketers out there that really, they make people feel bad about not knowing or not being able. And I really have tried hard to make marketing much more approachable. So thank you for the testimonial there. That's awesome. I'm happy.
Bernice would like if you could repeat the 3 M's of marketing.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we are going to dig into those aggressively right now, but I'll put them back on the screen here for just a second. And we're going to go into each of these. We're actually going to spend pretty much the rest of our time talking about these pretty closely, because this is the structure of your marketing plan. But it is a differentiated and defined target market, a emotionally evocative marketing message, and creative and cohesive methods of distribution. So a differentiated and defined target market, an emotionally evocative marketing message, and creative and cohesive methods of distribution. And the great news is, once you know your target market and your marketing message, you can get creative with your methods of distribution. And then because you have this plan, the how to build a plan I'm going to walk you through, you can make them super cohesive as well. All right, so let's talk about a differentiated and defined target market. Okay, before we go too far, I'm going to ask you to bear with me here, because I know a lot of us have been told, what's the saying? The riches are in the niches, which, as an English tutor, drives me nuts, because niche is actually pronounced niche, so it doesn't even rhyme. All right, I'm off my soapbox, I promise. Okay, we've all been told this though, right? You have to narrow down, you have to niche down, you have to get focused. Here's what I know. It is helpful to be able to get very niched down. Absolutely. My niche of catering to ADHD entrepreneurs, that's pretty niche. That's pretty specific. But this is oftentimes used as a crutch to be memorable. A lot of times marketers don't realize what they're saying when they're telling you need to niche down. What they're trying to tell you is you need to be memorable, because you being a financial planner, right? That's not memorable. There's a million financial planners. You're in a very, very crowded marketplace. But if you say, oh, I'm a financial planner who serves single moms who have just gone through a divorce, well, that's memorable because it's very specific. And so a lot of marketers say, oh, you have to get really, really specific with your target market, with your niche. I'm going to give you permission, I guess, if you needed it, to be I don't care. Here's what I'll tell you. You are allowed to have as many target markets as you are willing to research. That being the key. Each one of your target markets does need to be differentiated and defined. So you cannot have a target market that is anyone in North America 18 to 65 who breathes. That is neither differentiated nor defined. But you can have one target market that is new moms in San Antonio, Texas, who, I don't know, like to go to the spa, who like to take care of themselves. Great. That is one target market. That is differentiated. That is defined. Now you could have another target market that is professional men in white collar buildings who are working high stress jobs. That is also differentiated and defined. In my world, you have as many of these as you want, but you have to be willing to do the research on them, because you need to understand what differentiates them, what defines them, and how to get to them with your marketing message. The more work you do here, the less money you will spend on marketing. The more work you do here, the less money you will spend on marketing. So what do you need to research? Well, let's start with the demographics, okay? If you want to research, and again, we're going to send out the PowerPoint, so some of you guys are, I know the pens just went crazy. if you can take pictures of this or whatever, we're also gonna send it out. Also, if you win the book, this happens to be in the book, I'm just saying. I know. Okay, so demographics, you wanna look into the age range. Now, here's my general rule of thumb for the age range. You cannot cross more than one generation. You cannot pretend you are trying to market to everyone from millennials to boomers in one target market. Again, that is not differentiated or defined. You can have one generation. And here's why that matters. Where those people live, what their family life looks like, what hobbies they have, who they hang out with, where they hang out online and where they hang out offline are going to change by generation. So as a general rule of thumb, I tell people you cannot have more than 15 years in your age range. 15, right? You can't have more than 15 years in your age range. You need to be 25 to 40. You need to be 30 to 45. Like, keep it in a relatively small age range, because otherwise you are going to have a hard time filling in the rest of these items. Okay, so one age, one generation. If the gender is applicable, then say, oh, we tend to market more to women, or we tend to market more to men. Now, this could be a personal decision. You may say, I want to market to women. We know, right, at Grow Disrupt, we know that our audience is about 60% women. So our marketing tends to have a feel that is a little bit more feminine to it, because we have a 60%, but we don't go all in on that. I'm not alienating the guys. I still have 40% of my guys, right? So I have a target market gender in there, but it's not the end all be all. So if it's applicable, add it in there. If it's not applicable, that's okay. Income, geographic location, family life. We already talked through all these. You got all of these down. Here's the key. If you want to figure out where to find these, your best friend in the world is actually Google, which I know freaks everyone out, because they're like, Stephanie, anyone can put anything on Google. Yes, they can. However, Google has pretty good parameters in place to make sure that accurate information is on the home page. But just in case you want a couple of extra things, don't put anything on your target market unless you find it on at least 2 or 3 websites, right? Run a search, and then unless you're finding that same information on another website or another, don't use that information, right? You get to be the PI here, like dig in and do some research. And yes, this is going to take some time. That's okay. Start by filling in what you know. So you may start by saying, okay, I know, right, for Grow Disrupt, I know that the majority of our guests are in the 30 to 45 age range. I know that 60% of them are female or women. I know that for us, we're at about a 60% service-based. So we know we have a lean towards service-based. We also know that we have a lean towards B2B people. So about 65% of our guests are in B2B of some variety. So now I can start filling in the gaps of what I already know. And then I can go say, okay, where do women entrepreneurs in their 30s hang out online? And that's the question I put into Google, right? So you need to learn the demographics. Just search for it. There's a lot of great places. We have a list of online resources that I can send out. Jean actually has it. There's a website in here that we have a list of online resources that you can use for researching your demographic. And I'll get the website to Jean so she can get it out to everybody. But the other thing that you need to make sure you are researching is your psychographics. So we need to understand their interests, their dislikes, their aspirations, their attitudes, and what makes them feel comfortable buying. Now, this one you may have to do a little bit of actual, like, you filling in the dots. You can run some research to an extent. There are psychology-based research that will tell you, what are women in their 30s interested in, right? They will tell you, what are women in their 30s annoyed by? They will tell you, what do women in their 30s want right now? What are their aspirations, right? So you can find some of those studies, but you also may just have to go out and find some people who fit your demographic and ask them a few questions. But again, the more time you spend here, the less money you're going to spend marketing your business. So to me, this is 100% worth it. Okay, so why do we build a target market? I'm going to run through a few reasons real quickly for y'all. First and foremost, Building a target market, a detailed target market, spending hours on this allows me to design a more resonant marketing message, which means I will have a higher conversion rate because my message speaks to people, right? It allows me to get in front of my ideal audience faster, which means I will get faster conversions. And because it allows me to focus my marketing methods, I will waste less money and less energy. I thought I had a story to tell there. I guess I took that out. So you basically spend some time on this. If you get stuck, you'll have my email address at the end of this PowerPoint. Reach out. I'm happy to help. Target markets are not easy to build, but they're incredibly important, and they are the piece of marketing that most people skip. They get annoyed. They don't like doing this because it's all research, and everyone just wants to get into posting on their social platform or getting their website up or whatever. But here's the thing. Why would you spin your wheels? Because that's what you're doing when you don't know your target market. You're putting out content that you don't know is going to resonate. You're putting out information places you don't know they're going to see it. All right, I'm going to move on. So next up, we have an emotionally evocative marketing message. Now, here's what I have learned. Remember how I said you do not need to have a niche, right? You don't have to have a narrowed down, I only work with women who have blue hair and live in Cleveland, Ohio, right? You don't have to be super niched down, because if you can come up with your emotionally evocative marketing message, people will remember that. Why? Because emotion is what's memorable. Real quick. Ready? I'm going to give you a test. What's your favorite movie? Why do you like it? Now, this really works better when I'm face-to-face with people and someone shouts out, oh, my favorite movie is Princess Bride. And I say, well, why do you like Princess Bride? They say, it's funny. It makes me laugh. I love this. Or they say The Grinch or whatever, right? People throw out. And the funny thing is, whenever I ask, well, why do you love that? They talk about the emotions that movie creates for them. It's been years since I've seen Princess Bride. I could still walk you through huge chunks of it because it's one of my favorite movies. It makes me laugh. It makes me cry. It makes me scared. Those darn ROUSs or whatever, right? The emotion is there. Emotion is memorable. That's how the brain is wired. You want people to remember you? You need a stronger marketing message. You want to be able to get away without niching down? You need a stronger marketing message. So how do we find this? All right. Let's talk about what a marketing message is and what a marketing message isn't real quickly here. I don't know if I shared my audio when I hit share, so I don't know if y'all are going to be able to hear this. Let's see. Jean, can y'all hear the audio?
No, when you go to share, it gives you an option to share computer audio, maybe.
Yeah, give me a second here. Let's see if I can come back. Stop sharing. Share. Side by side. Include computer sound. Here we go. All right, take two here. All right, so we're going to watch this video real quick. This is one of my favorite commercials to show what a marketing message is and what a marketing message isn't. It's a Kay Jewelers commercial. Let's see here. All right, so let's try again.
A typical male penguin shows his love by offering the female a pebble.
I hate to tell you, we're not seeing the video. We're only hearing the sound.
Oh my gosh, you're kidding. You guys, okay.
We will send everybody the link.
We'll send everyone the link. I'll walk y'all through it real quickly instead. That's it's technology, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm really not as good with Teams as I probably should be. So the way the commercial goes, he says a typical male penguin offers, when he wants to get a female penguin's attention, he offers her a pebble, right? And then he goes, a smarter male penguin offers something a little bit better. And then the male penguin pushes a Kay Jewelers box towards the female penguin. And what's interesting and what I like pointing out here is that when the male penguin brings the female penguin the Kay Jewelers box, the next image is of the two penguins coming together. And Kay Jewelers is actually brilliant at this. Kay Jewelers does this again and 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 again. They do this whole every kiss begins with K, and that's their tagline. And that's what people think their marketing message is. But that is not what their marketing message is. Their marketing message is, we bring you closer together to the person you care about. Because at the end of the day, no one's spending $5,000 for a kiss. Well, most of us are not spending $5,000 for a kiss, okay? Most of us are, we're not. But I will spend $5,000 to become closer and have a tangible forever reminder with the person that I care most about, right? That's what Kay Jewelers sells. They don't sell diamonds. They don't sell jewelry. They sell a moment with you and the person they care about. And that is what all of their ads show you. Again and again throughout their ads, you will see where Kay Jewelers brings people together. They start further apart. By the end of the ad, they've come together. What their promise is we bring you closer to the person you care about. That is their marketing message. Your job is to figure out what your marketing message is. Now, a few keys here. All right. First and foremost, you're going to reinforce your marketing message in everything you do, your colors, your tone, and your verbiage. If you want to sit there and tell people we're the most fun you're ever going to have, and then have very monotone messaging and colors and everything looks identical, I'm not reinforcing the message, am I? Right? And the problem is, subconsciously, I'm causing people to question me, to question whether they can trust me. So your message is going to come down to the colors you choose, the tone you use, the verbiage you choose. It comes down to what you do. All of the little things that you do. How do you live and breathe your messaging? My book, one of the things we did inside of this book is we used in small quantities, we used a concept called half bold. It's a font style where you bold half of the word, and it actually works really well with the neurodivergent brain to allow them, make it easier for them to read.
Hey,
we
Steph.
did that. Yes.
Yeah. Can you share your PowerPoint again?
Ah, you guys can't see my PowerPoint? The penguin ate my PowerPoint. All right, hold on.
And for everybody else, I put the link in for the ad in the chat, but don't worry. We want you to concentrate on Stephanie because I put it in the chat. I have access to it to put it in the follow-up email so you can watch it after today. But
yay! All right.
So
let's try this.
Okay, that's me.
There's Jean looking lovely. All right, can you see the PowerPoint now?
Yes, perfect. Thank you.
All right. All right, so this was the messaging, right? You got to have your colors, your tone, your verbiage, what you do, all of the little things that you do. So I was talking about in the book, right? We use this half bold font to reinforce that we understand people with ADHD, right? That's the message of my company, is that we get people with ADHD. We know you, we see you, we understand you, and we build things for you. Right? That is really the message. And in order for me to reinforce that, I do a lot of video marketing, and we make sure that video marketing moves fast. It's almost everything we put out is under 5 minutes. A good chunk of it is under 60 seconds. We have music, we have lights, we have things going on that are multi-stimulus, but not overstimulating, right? We have to show we understand people through the marketing that we put out. I can't have a website that is complicated to read or difficult to read or get into if I want people to think that I know anything about what I say I do, which is understanding the neurodivergent brain. So what you do, how you deliver your message is going to be more important than anything else. Pick your colors, right? There's a whole ton of science behind what different colors do in the brain, and they've done really, really cool studies where they have put people in like I think MRI machines, the ones where they read the brain, and then they've like shown them colors and seen how the brain reacts, and then shown them words and triggered emotions, and see like they've learned a lot about how color impacts. So choose your colors based on your message. Are you trying to communicate, in my case for Grow Disrupt, friendly, excitement, and creativity? Our colors are orange, pink, and purple, right? And optimism. We do have some gold and yellow in there too, right? So pick your colors based on what your message is trying to communicate. This is one of my favorite quotes. It's a little out of order here in this PowerPoint, but this is one of my favorite quotes when it comes down to messaging. It's from a guy here in San Antonio called Roger Christian, and he's done a lot of really large marketing campaigns, Whataburger and Bluebell, and just major campaigns. And I was working with him on an event about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, and he said to me, Stephanie, one of the things that kills me working with small business owners is that the smaller your budget, the fewer messages you can get out, and it's more critical that it's clever and powerful enough to stop people in their tracks. And he went on to share with me, he said, Stephanie, the problem that I run into with most small businesses is when I do a campaign for Coca-Cola, it goes through 3 or 4 rounds of quality control. When I do a campaign for a small business, maybe one person will quality control it to make sure that it matches the message they really want to get out there. But this small business is getting out maybe 100 to 200 messages a year. And Coca-Cola is putting out millions. Each message for you matters more. We have to be very intentional with everything we put out there for our business. Again, quality over quantity. You need to know what your message is so you can reinforce it through everything you do. So how do you find your marketing message? Because I don't want to sit here and be like, you need an emotionally marketed blah, 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 right? So let's walk through the process real quick. So you are going to need to take some time, like sit your butt down and actually work on answering these questions, okay? Why do you love working with your ideal client? And I want to reframe that just a little bit to what is it about working with your ideal client that you love? Okay, now what I get a lot of times when people are answering this question is I get a lot of times people are like, oh, they pay me on time. Okay, that's not about your client, right? That's about what they do for you. So that's cool. I'm glad they pay you on time, but what is it about working with them that you love, right? For Grow Disrupt, I could sit here and be like, well, you know, my ideal client, you know, buys a ticket, doesn't worry about the price, does all these things, right? But what I really love about working with our guests, the people who come to our events, is our guests are movers and shakers. They are industry makers. They are disruptors. They are changing the world, and they care about the people in their world. That matters. I love working with people who are out here trying to make a bigger difference, who are not just out here trying to make a buck, but want to actually make a difference with their business. That's what I love about working with my ideal clients. They're passionate visionaries. So answer the question for yourself. What is it about your clients that you love that gets you excited to work with them? Now, the second one you're going to answer is, what challenges are they dealing with in relation to your product or service? So for me, a lot of times when I'm dealing with ADHD entrepreneurs, they have gone to a lot of events that really have been terrible. They've gone to a lot of events that have left them feeling overwhelmed, that have left them feeling incapable, that have left them feeling like they don't matter, that have left them feeling frustrated. They've gone to events that have left them exhausted, that have left them confused about how to grow their business. Those are the challenges that my clients deal with in relation to my product or service, which is putting on Grow Your Business retreats. So how do I help them? I create space that is built for them, that understands who they are. Yeah, I put on events. What I really do is I create space for them to reconnect with what makes them brilliant. And that space is built around them, how their brain works. And I have to show that in all of the marketing that we put out there. So I want to encourage you to set aside some time on your calendar, sit down and really ask yourself. So when it comes down to it, our marketing message, our Grow Disrupt marketing message reads, and you'll be able to hear how this all lines up. Our guests are passionate visionaries. We create space for them to keep an eye on how incredible they are and empower their business growth by providing practical tools and application at our events. Notice how that tells you what I do, why I do it, and who I do it for, all in one little paragraph. This is going to take some time to really narrow it down. That's okay. That is years of me narrowing down and refining our messaging. It's okay if it takes you a little bit of time, but this is the process to follow. Now, here's the key. Your marketing message needs to be differentiated and it needs to be defined, okay? So let's talk about the differentiated real quickly here. How many of y'all know who this gentleman is? Oh, I can't see the chat. All right, so this gentleman is Jesse Cole. Jesse Cole is the owner of a baseball team called the Savannah Bananas. And the Savannah Bananas are not really a baseball team, like it's a circus. They went viral a few years back. And not last year, in 2022, they actually had ESPN came out and filmed an 8-part series highlighting the Bananas. They have been inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame. They now have a 1 million person wait list. Why? Because they don't try and say we're a baseball team. Their message is differentiated. They say, no, we're not a baseball team. We are the greatest show in sports. And we put our fans first always. That's different from any other baseball team out there. Your job, if you want to be able to serve multiple people, that's fine. But you need a message that is differentiated from anyone else. If anyone else in your industry can take it and just plop their name into your message, it's not differentiated. You need to differentiate your message. You need to find the thing that matters to you. And that's why this process matters, because it needs to be why you care about these people that you're working with, what challenges they are dealing with, and how you help them. Next one is you do need to define it. Notice how that was one of the points I made in my message was I said through our events, right? I want people to know what we do. I don't want people to look at our marketing and be like, well, this is great. I don't know how to work with this person. And we see this a lot, networking events, since we had that mentioned at the beginning, right? Someone goes and they deliver their elevator pitch and they say, I am the best person to make sure that your future is secure and I will bring forth rain to come down. I don't know, I'm making stuff up. And then everyone is sitting there going, oh, wow, what a great orator. What do they do? You need to make sure people know what you do too. So make sure your message is different from everyone else. And it defines what you do. And it is going to take you some time to land on this. But follow that process. It takes time, but it's not hard. And then refine it down and refine it down. Okay, so let's talk. All right, hey, we have 20 minutes. That should give us some time for Q&A here at the end. So let's talk about creative and cohesive methods of distribution. So you have decided, you've determined, right? You've figured out how to avoid all of these pitfalls. You have identified your target markets, as many as you want. You've developed your marketing message. Now, what do we actually do with this? How do we use this to figure out which strategies, as Kristen was asking us, that you actually need to run? Okay, so why this matter? Oh, here's the story. This is the story that I was going to tell you all a few minutes ago. Apparently, I moved it in the PowerPoint. Why does all of this matter? Okay, so I want to walk y'all through and I know why I moved this. I'm going to walk y'all through a story that I did. This was a marketing campaign that I did for a franchise owner for one of the clothes bins. 2019, I think, either 2018 or 2019. So the owner of this franchise calls me up and he goes, Stephanie, I was at an event you were at recently and I'm really struggling with our marketing. I could really use some help. And I said, okay, well, let's, here's what we could do to help you out. And oh, you know what? It had to be 2020 because we did a done for you marketing plan for him and we didn't start doing those till 2020 when everyone started asking how we were doubling in size. So it was in 2020. So we built this done for you marketing plan for this guy, right? Where we go in, we did all the target market research. We built out the message based on what he was telling me about his company, based on the target. We built out all the documents. We built out the plan for the creative, cohesive methods of distribution. I meet up with this gentleman to present the plan to him. I get through the first two pieces. Here's your target market. Here's your marketing message. Here's what you're going to do to market to them. And he stops me after the first one. And he goes, I'm not doing that. And I was like, what? I did not expect, I never had anyone do that. And so I look at him and I said, well, why not? He said, Stephanie, I have sent mailers before, because what this guy does, is he basically gets a bin that people can drop textiles in for recycling. And then wherever he puts that bin, whoever owns that land gets so many pounds or so many cents per pound of textile that are collected, because he's then able to resell them for a profit. And what he was trying to do is he was trying to get in with the schools in his franchised area, because he said, Steph, I have added it up. I've added it up. If I could place one bin on each school in our district, I could give the school district an extra $60,000 a year. He said, think about how many times they are doing endless fundraisers, getting pennies on the dollar for every chocolate bar they sell, driving parents crazy. I could eliminate a huge chunk of those fundraisers. And I can't get in with any of these schools. None of them will talk to me. I can't get in with the heads. I can't get in with anything. So we built this plan to help him do that. And the first thing that I wanted him to do was he was going to send a mailer. We created a mailer for him. He was going to send a mailer to these offices. And he stopped me and he said, no, I've already sent mailers. We're not doing it. I said, I know, I've seen the mailers you sent. I've seen them. This is different. Do this. And he goes, no, I'm not wasting money on more mailers. So I told him, I said, all right, I'll make a deal with you. If you will send out these mailers, if you don't get anything back, right? You get nothing back. I will not only refund you the cost of the marketing plan, but I will pay for the mailers that went out. And he goes, all right. I don't know what else he was going to say at that point. So he sends out the mailers. They went out, I want to say it was like a Monday or a Tuesday, Wednesday afternoon. Either way, 2 days after they go out, I get a call and I pick up. I'm like, hey, Tom, how's it going? He goes, what did you do? I'm like, I don't know. What did I do? He goes, the mailers just started arriving. I've already had 2 offices call me to ask not if I can come out and do a presentation, which was all he wanted to do, but when can I come place a bin on the property? When you know who you're talking to and what message matters to them, you can cut through the clutter. He spent a total of $75 getting these postcards printed up. And I think he placed 5 or 6 bins out of the whole thing. And then he was able to run the entire rest of the marketing campaign to finish setting things up in that area. This is why it matters. Okay, we'll skip that question because we've already talked about it enough. I'm assuming y'all are vested at this point. So how do we actually manage your methods of distribution? How do you build a marketing plan, right, that will help you execute all of these items, your creative and cohesive methods of distribution? Okay. How do you actually figure out, all right, so I need to get to the creative part, right? Now, the creative part is going to come from you knowing who you're talking to and what message you're trying to get out there, right? So if you have if you say, hey, look, I'm trying to market to, well, I use a lot of grow disrupt examples because I've spent so much time on our marketing, I'm really familiar with it. But if we say, hey, we need to market to ADHD entrepreneurs in San Antonio, Texas. Fantastic, not a big deal. Well, what do we know about ADHD entrepreneurs? Well, we know that ADHD entrepreneurs are, they like stickers. This is a weird one, but we know that ADHD individuals in general like stickers. We have discovered that our audience likes stickers for the most part. So what we decided to do was we went and we got a sticker created. We got a really cool, and this is just a graphic of the sticker because I didn't grab any of them, but we got this really cool sticker created. So we put the sticker out, and what we did was we said, okay, so we have the sticker that speaks to who they are because we know it's something they like. We know it takes a second, right? The ADHD catches their eye and then they're reading it and they're trying to figure it out. And then they're like, oh, it's all the things that make me ADHD and it's creating my opportunity. Oh, that's so cool, right? It makes them feel clever. Emotion. Okay. And then we said, so where do we put them? Well, we know from our target market research that our ideal clients are hanging out at boutique gyms and salons. They are hanging out at local restaurants. They are hanging out at local grocery stores. They love this local piece because they're entrepreneurs. They love supporting local. So we just started going to local places and saying, hey, we have some stickers. Would you mind if we stick them out? And what we found is that every single time we would go back, they were all gone. No one cared because it was a value add. It wasn't pushy. It wasn't trying to promote what I was doing. It was just here's a sticker. Here's a cool sticker. You can get creative with where you're putting your message. And if you know what your message is, I can set it up so it's only going to appeal to ADHD entrepreneurs. So here are the components of your marketing plan, as we've been talking about. There's really 4 documents total. They fall under the 3 M's. You're going to have your target market, which really could be as many target markets as you want. You're going to have your marketing message. And then the last piece, your methods of distribution, is going to break down into 2 documents. One is called your project plan. The other one is your baseline. So let's talk about these. Okay. Building. All right. Your project plan is going to be all of the items, all of the one and dones that you need to do. So what you're going to need to establish is what marketing tactics do you want to run with. Okay. If you say, all right, we want to kick off, we're going to keep things simple to get things going. We want to kick off a PR campaign, and we want to kick off a social media campaign, and we want to kick off a networking campaign. We want to make sure these are all cohesive, that we are networking, we're posting pictures of the events we go to on our social media, we're linking our social media back to our website. Every time we get some PR, we're sharing it on our social media, we're sharing it on our website, right? Everything is coming together because we don't market in isolation, right? So, but in order to kick off that, your project plan is going to need to list out all of the things you need to do. Build a list of networking groups to go to. Find a networking group to join. These are all one and dones. You need to get this done to get the campaign rolling, right? Your baseline is all the things you're going to do on a reoccurring basis. So all that said, let's walk through kind of a step-by-step on how to get these pieces put together. First and foremost, building out your methods, figuring out what strategies do you want to run. Well, the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to first audit your current existing marketing assets and lay out plans to update them. Because if you followed this process so far, you now have a target market and you have a message. That message may not be reflected on all of your existing marketing material. So you're going to need to look at your website, your flyers, your swag, your social media, and see, is this message? My message is we create space for entrepreneurs to see themselves, reconnect with the tools they need to grow, right? So is that message reflected in my social media? Is that message reflected on my website? And then I create a list of things that I need to do to update my current marketing assets. This is all going to go on my project plan, right? My project plan is I need to do A, B, C, X, Y, Z, right? All of these are one and done. I need to update the website. I need to update the cover photo on Facebook. I need to update the cover photo on LinkedIn. Those are one and dones to get those to reflect my new message. Next, you're going to research ideas online. Now that you have your target market, you can say, how do you market to XYZ target market? Here's what I'm going to recommend. You're going to get a lot of what are called listicles. That's great. Pull them up. I will usually go through and I will pull up 10 or 15 of these listicles, and then I will just start scrolling through, and I just literally have a piece of paper and pen, and as I find an idea that I like, I'll jot it down. And then I'll keep scrolling and I find another right, I'll jot that one down. Now I don't have to implement any of these. I'm just trying to get ideas at this point in time. So I'll have a list of 10 or 15 different things that I could do to market my events. Next up, I'm going to go through my target market. Now I have this target market. I have this thing that tells me, oh, my people like to volunteer at the food banks on weekends. What could I do with that information? Can I call the food bank and say, hey, do you have a sponsorship opportunity for your weekend volunteers? Can I sponsor the snack table? So you're going to look through your target market. What ideas are in there? What can you do with some of this information? Oh, hey, they're all hanging out at this local bar. Well, great. Can I go to the local bar and ask if I can sponsor coasters? Right? We'll put your stuff on one side, put my stuff on the other. Can I sponsor coasters? Really inexpensive, but now I get my message in front of my target market. So building out your methods of distribution, audit your current marketing assets, lay out the plans to get them updated to the new message, research ideas online, review your target market for ideas. Now you're going to put on your project plan, if you need to do any brand updates, you can call Carrie. She does beautiful brand work, design work, etc. If you need to do asset updates, right? If you need to update your website, if you need to update a flyer, if you need to update whatever, If you need to kick off your strategies or your tactics, I clearly need to update that word there, right? If you need to kick off your tactics, so if you're kicking off a PR campaign, a press campaign, you may need to go register at websites like helpareporter.com that have reporters going and sending out queries for you to respond to. Your project plan would be register at helpareporter.com. And then you also need to list out if you need to create any assets. For example, the stickers that we created. So your project plan is all of the one and dones you need to do to kick off all of these marketing tactics that you've come up with. Your baseline are all of the things that you're doing on a reoccurring basis. All the things you're doing on a reoccurring basis in your business, okay? So the baseline for your marketing baseline is based on a concept called the baseline strategy. Now the baseline strategy is based on this concept that effort equals results, right? Whatever effort you're putting out, that gets you the results that you're getting in life. If I want to lose weight and I am going for a 5-mile walk every night and I am making sure that I'm getting 8 hours of sleep every night and I'm drinking 64 ounces of water per day and I'm eating less than 2,000 calories per day, that's the effort that I'm putting in to get the result to lose the weight. Okay, now if I want to change the result, if I want to change and say, okay, I need like I'm not losing weight as fast as I want to. I'm going to have to do what, right? If you remember back to like high school algebra, if you want to, whatever you do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other. So if I want to change the results, I have to change the effort. But I can't do that unless I know what the effort is. I need to know what my baseline of effort is. That is the baseline strategy. It's all the items you're doing on a reoccurring basis. So your marketing baseline, by the way, this is one of my favorite tactics for everything in business, okay, is this baseline strategy, but we're going to keep going because I'm watching the time countdown because I'm getting excited and talking about things for too long. Never do that. So your marketing baseline is going to be a list of all the things you're going to do daily, weekly, monthly, or quarterly. For example, you might daily send and follow up on 25 LinkedIn connection requests and return PR requests from helpareporter.com. Weekly, you might create social media content for next week and create an outbound PR pitch to send out to your colleagues and contacts at local news stations. Monthly, you might run a CMO meeting, and quarterly, you might research events to attend or awards to apply for. I have some questions on that. It's actually fairly basic. This is always interesting to me. People panic when we get this far, like at the 20 minutes left in the presentation, and they're like, she hasn't talked about strategies or tactics. Because at the end of the day, as long as you built your target market correctly, as long as you have really done a great job on your marketing message, coming up with the tactics is not that hard. It takes time. You're going to need to set aside time to do these steps I've walked you through, but you will come up with stuff that stands out. The last little piece of advice I'll give you here before we do the drawing for the book. When I started playing the violin, one of the most important lessons that I learned was that it is a skill set. And that sounds really dumb to have to say out loud. Like, of course it's a skill set, Steph. Yeah, but in my brain, I was supposed to be really good at playing the violin like instantly. And it took me a while to understand that this was a skill set that I needed to cultivate. And in order to do that, I had to actually pick up the violin and play. And the more I do it, the better I get. I would watch, all these violinists on stage and they'd be playing effortlessly and it would look so good. And I would sit here and be struggling to play Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. But the more that I kept picking up the violin and practicing, the easier it got to look closer to how they look. I don't want you comparing your marketing skill set with anyone else's, any more than I should have ever compared my violin skill set with anyone else's. Because everyone is at a different place in their journey. And what is easy for me marketing-wise may not be easy for you. That's okay. You're building the muscle, you're building the skill set. Keep working at it, but make sure you get in the gym. Because the reality is, at the end of the day, when we take action on what we learn, because knowledge is no longer power. It has not been power for a long time. It is applied knowledge that is power. And when we take action, we achieve considerable traction in objective nailing. When we take action, we create traction towards the objectives that we have set for ourselves. So please go out there and do something, one thing. We talked about a lot today. Pick one thing and run with it. All right, do we have, let me go back into Teams and I'm gonna kill the screen share real quick. While I get, do we have questions from people? I don't know how to see if we have questions.
Yes, at the top, I don't know if you click on Q&A, you'll see them. And we have one from the chat that I want to get to real quick too. And
yes,
for everybody who's still on with us, I've put in the chat again how to enter your information for the book giveaway.
Perfect. And I am getting all of the names into the little spinny thing right now. So give me 2 seconds while I do this. Go ahead.
Put that up. But Kristen wants to know if the information that you've presented today is in your book.
Yes, almost all of it is actually. I think all of it is. I worked really hard. One of the things I'm really, really proud of in the book is that it is very much like a workbook. Like there is literally chunks to walk you through creating your marketing message. I feel like I'm pitching my book. I'm sorry. It's not my goal here. But like, there's literally like built in, like here, okay, here's the prompt, go ahead and write your answers. So yes, everything is in there, which is one of the reasons that I was like, we should, do a giveaway of the book because I'm very biased and I'm very proud of it.
Okay. And this person, okay, here at the Q&A, we've got some questions. I appreciate everybody putting them in. We did record today's session and you will get a copy of the recording and Steph's slides and the ways to contact her. So don't worry about that. So this question is about your target market. So if your target group range is multiple generations like veterans,
okay,
how do you make that your group?
So you would have multiple target markets, right? So you might have a young, like because veterans really can be in their 20s and 30s even, right? You can get pretty young veterans. So you may have a late 20s and early 30s veterans target market. And then you may have another target market that is your 30s to mid 40s veterans. And then you may have another one that is your 45 to 50 to 60. So you would just build different target markets because again, those veterans are going to be, there's going to be some overlap, but they're going to be on different websites. They're going to be hanging out with different people. They're going to have different family lives. If you try and put them all in one, you're not going to get very good information when you try and put that into anything, right? Excellent question. I love that question. No one's ever asked me that before.
And I am not seeing any other questions here in the Q&A or the chat.
Great. We have a ton of text messages, so I'm trying to get them put in as fast as I can. Y'all are amazing, by the way. Going as fast, I promise. I'm stalling. Any other questions? Did I really manage to answer?
I think if they go to your website, you do have some resource for a marketing plan that they can download, they can get from you. I can't quite remember. Sorry, folks.
Yeah, no, there's a ton of resources at thestephanischeller.com, like the one and only, the curly hairedest, the violinist. I don't know. Someone was squatting on stephaniescheller.com when I originally set up my website, so we had to go the Stephanie Scheller. But there's a ton of resources there for anyone who is interested. We have a ton of articles. We have freebies. We have videos. We have a ton of stuff on the website. So anyone who is interested, Did you drop that in the chat as well, Jean?
Yes.
Okay.
You know my madness. I also will say, I have personally interacted with Stephanie through her mastermind. And if you have an opportunity, it is a wonderful way to really get your marketing to the next level. She asks those hard questions. You work with a bunch of entrepreneurs just like yourself. And I never did a mastermind before. And every time I participate in it, my marketing gets better.
Oh, see, I love hearing that. I love doing the marketing masterminds. I think they are not necessarily easy, but they are definitely it's helpful to have a group of people who are asking the questions. All right, are we ready? I've got everyone loaded. Are you guys ready to see who's gonna win?
Wow.
1, 2, 3. Oh, wow. That was really like, all right, Kristen. Fabulous. So Kristen, I am going to shoot you a text. I will need your address. And if you will get me your address, I will get this out to you on Friday. Yeah, I will get it out on Friday. We have a couple of presentations this week, so I will get them out on Friday. So thank you all so much. I appreciate it. I really have fun with these, and truly, if you have questions, you can get a hold of me at that phone number. You can get a hold of me on the website. My big goal with marketing is really to make it accessible for small businesses. So I'm very happy to answer questions as they
okay,
as you'll have them.
I have put in the chat.
Oh, now I can see the chat.
I put in there our survey link. If you can take that and let us know how we did. I always share that feedback with Stephanie, and not, it's good because it keeps us on our toes, lets us know what else that you would like to see. What you're seeing right now is how to get in touch with us. So whether you need small business assistance, you want to see what we're doing with training with presenters like Stephanie. We do lots and lots. I can't believe how much training we do now. But and just to reiterate, if you missed the survey today, I'll send you a link again tomorrow. You get a copy of the slides, you get a copy of the recording. So don't worry, you have not missed anything. So, and we're getting lots of nice things in the chats. Thank you, everybody. We really appreciate that. And thank you for taking time today to join us. And Stephanie, we really appreciate the work that you've put in to be with us today and sharing. I don't want to say the silver bullet, but yeah.
the many bullets that allow you to have effective results.
I like to think it's putting the sanity back into marketing, because we all feel pressured to be everything to everyone on all the channels. And quite frankly, that's not possible. You will kill yourself trying to do that. So
100%. It's exhausting. And I talk in the book about how important managing your energy is, because it is one of your most valuable resources. And so often we get pulled so many different directions. We have no energy left to actually put into the stuff that works effectively. And it's one of the hardest things for me to see is when I get a business owner who is just exhausted and has nothing left to market their business. That is always really, really, really hard for me to see. Yeah, it's heartbreaking. So hopefully this helps. Yeah. I don't have anything else.
Okay, everybody, and we will see everyone at the next webinar. Thanks for being here today. Bye-bye.
Bye.